What's up Saab fans around the world, and welcome back to another video. So this will be the coilover build video on the coilovers that I unboxed a couple of weeks ago. Since then I have been dealing with some oil leak issues on this car that I think I might have fixed right now. So in 2 weeks time there will be another track day with Saab Turbo Club of Sweden, which I'm really hyped about. So I want to be throwing on these coilovers, make sure they work. They should be really much stiffer than the old ones, so they will be more suited for trek. And we will be doing the last of the tuning on the car. I have also bought some new tires for the car because they are running on their last laps, so should be quite exciting. But let's jump into the coilover build. I just gotta excuse my mess in the garage. It's parts and stuff everywhere, but at least I have removed the front strut, so we have them right here. A little comparison side by side. You can see how much more robust this spring is compared to this, and also the rod is a little bit more heavy duty. So let's start with the front ones. So we have to modify this one right here. So I'm just gonna grind away like 1 millimeter on each inside, and then it will fit perfect. And this hole needs to be taken up a little bit, because I think it needs to be like 12 or 13 millimeter, and this is like 10. And then we come to the top mount. I think you will be able to redo this so you can actually use the camber adjustment, but as of right now I think I'm going to go with just putting the OEM top mount on this one to make it work, so I can prep the car for the track day, because it would be really idiotic to just focus on getting the top mount correct and then miss the track day. So I have one right here that I have taken apart, and as you can see, if we just put it underneath the strut brace right here, like so, and you get a glimpse of what it could look like. So you could just cut this axis away, drill some new holes right here, and you will be good to go. It will be hard to reach all of the camber adjustments, but you can have some screws in the middle at least. So it should work, but we are not going to do it right now because aluminum is a little tricky to work with, and I want this to work. I don't want this to mess up the whole track day, so we will save it for another time and come back and do that later. So let's start with adjusting this one to make sure it fits, and also take up this hole right here. So test fitting the bottom end. As I said, the bolt pattern is on point, so I just had to grind this out a bit to get it on. it should be 30 millimeters in between. Fits nicely, and this fits as well, no problem. Now the coilover on the other side is attached, so there is a little bit of tension to it, but either way fits nice. Now we should go on with the top mount and see how we could fix this. So I'm going to start with removing this bracket or mounting point first. If we take a little bit of a closer look right here at the top mount, so this is the OEM one with the bearing right here that makes the shock or the strut doesn't make any noises or clunking noises when you turn, but it really does with these cheap coilovers. On this one they have a bearing right inside here to avoid those noises. So you got the pillow ball top mounting, which is really nice machined piece. So this would be ideal to use, because this will spin against this bearing and you would probably avoid a lot of knocking noises when you turn. So this will be the way to go in the future. So I'm gonna make a new top plate like this one that could be fitted on this, and it will bolt straight up. It will be no problem at all. So as of right now we are just going to take a little bit of a shortcut, and we are going to reuse the OEM one. So I've been doing some thinking, and without adding too much to this, I'm just gonna modify the top mounting right here. If you can see here, you have like a line. This is like almost 5 millimeters, and then you will have an edge that the bearing could ride on. So I'm just gonna remove some of the material right here and then just put this right on top, and we will bolt it down, and that way it will be like an OEM top bearing without we even changing the tension or anything on the spring right here. And we still keep the lowability. We could lower the car pretty much if needed, because this spring is really stiff. So I really want to have that adjustment to play with. So I have removed that little edge. So this is an old, pretty beaten up top mount, so I didn't care too much if this would fail, but we still have a little lip that the bearing can ride on. And it turned out to be really good. So now it doesn't interfere with anything, it stays still and it's spinning really good. So now we're just gonna tighten this down and we will be all good with the front mount. So here you can see the bearing is twisting and turning. So here we have it. One Fast and the Furious coilover done. So first side in place. As I said, bolt pattern on point. Even got a little bit wiggle to it, so you can adjust like camber a little bit with pushing it forward or backward. So this will come in as soon as I loosen on the other side, because it's just tension right now. And as you see, the spring sits nicely, and we got a good like 4 or 5 centimeters to lower if we want to. And this is the nice part of it all. So up here we have the adjustment for the dampener. So on track day you can just pop the hood, just stiffen up the dampening. Super nice. So I think this would be a great like middle way to go. Just get them on, get them fully seated, and then do a wheel alignment before the track day. So this is just one side, and it's getting pretty late now, and we have had some hot days. You can see we got 27.7 degrees Celsius, which is super hot. So I'm sweating my ass off in here. So it was quite easy, but it took some time to figure out the top mounting. But since that is done, I think it came out perfect like it is right now. So we're just gonna copy this to the other side, and this coilovers looks so much more premium than the old ones. And as I said, the full adjustability, 24-way of dampening adjustments. So now we're gonna jump over, or first I'm gonna copy that to the other side, but I'm not gonna let you show that because it's pretty boring. So now we're gonna jump over to the rear, and this is the part where I have done most of the thinking how this should be. So we will see how it ends up. Maybe it's a failure, maybe it's a success, we will see. I've got some custom parts made right here to get the spring seated and for the lower. So yeah, we will see. I will make the other side for the fronts, and then we will jump right into the back. Okay, so here we have the rear coilovers, and this is the standard one. This looks almost like when you're riding a stock strut and spring. The spring is very much like the old one. It fits perfect up in the mounting point or the mounting console. So here we have the stock one that we started with. Here we have the rear Eclipse coilover. So what I have done is taken everything apart, screw it all the way down as far as I could go. Then I removed these two rings, which are here. Then I disassembled everything, and I had this one made. It's a custom aluminum bracket. So the spring goes on this side, and this side goes up into the console, as you can see right here, to keep the spring in place and the shock to be able to bounce up and down when the spring compresses. And I also needed to shorten the mounting a little bit, so I have cut this off and moved it down approximately in total like 4 centimeters or something like that to be able to fit this. So when I have lowered this down, I will be able to reach the adjustment of the dampener and also reuse all the original mounting points. So my guess right now is, you can see that the length is very much the same on this ones. This is a very much softer spring, so it compresses a lot. This will not compress as much. So the bad thing about doing this is the pre-tension of this spring is gone. So the only way to adjust the height right now, I think this will be a little bit too high, because I don't think it will compress enough. So we will test this, but otherwise you can cut this off the mounting point or the lower console. So for once this could be removed and re-weld this, or you can just cut this off how much you want to lower it and then weld it back together. It's not the nicest, but what to do when you want to have that perfect fitment. I refuse to go really high. I rather sit pretty flush. It will not be like a standstill, but it should be pretty low. So we will throw this on and I will film a little bit when I do this on this one right here. But now I have gone through everything. So the custom parts is this aluminum bracket and this little fella right here. So if you look at this hole is a little bit smaller, and on this one it was a little bit bigger, so I had this custom made. Drops right in and then it will just squeeze in, so it's a perfect fitment. So this is what it looks like, fully installed. Looks pretty OEM. So this is a 7 kilo per millimeter spring, so it's a pretty stiff spring. So we will see how much it compresses when we put it to the ground. But as I said, all the original mounting points are there, except this sits a little bit lower. So now I can actually reach the adjustment. So I'm gonna run the lowest setting to start with, and then we will just add up. So these are really short shocks. So this was the best solution in my opinion, and to reuse the stock console. So now I'm gonna throw on the wheels all around and we will lower the car for the first time. So in the front I have made some adjustments as well. Before, when I just installed them, I had like 4 millimeters right here, but I have tried to just raise the brake disc or the whole shock, try to compress it with just putting the jack underneath it, and it doesn't compress very much. So this is a 10 kilo per millimeter spring, so this is really stiff. But as you can see, everything is on point and installed. Not very much modification to the front ones, so I'm really happy with that. So now, as I said, put on the wheels, and then we will lower it for the first time and we will see how it acts. My guess is the front is going to be pretty okay, but the rear is going to be a little bit too high. That's my guess. So I think we have to remove a good 3 centimeters or something from this one right here. So it's threaded a bit down here, but this is just hollow empty room to be able to lower or raise the car. I will never raise this car, it will only get lower, so let's throw on the wheels and we will see where we're at. As I said, the springs will settle a little bit, so the front is actually pretty good. The garage floor is not even in here, so you should take it with a pinch of salt, the results. One side might be a little bit higher than the other one might be a little bit lower. So this I will definitely lower the last part that I had, like 1.5 centimeters, and it will be perfect in the front. But the rear, as I said and as I suspected, it's it's a drag car right now. Like jacked up in the rear and then super low in the front. So we will see. We have something to measure with. Now here the garage floor comes into play a little bit. This side is not as bad as the other one, but just a quick measure. I would like it to be the ideal would be 7 centimeters, and I don't think we have 7 centimeters to take off anything. Maybe we have. Because this full right here is 10 centimeters, just this one right here. So I think we could at least take 5, 6, maybe 7 centimeters off this and still have some left, because this is not okay at all. So here we have the lower console, and this is the part that we are going to modify right now. So here you have 2 choices. This part of it is 10 centimeters, and you have a couple centimeters to go right here. So due to the design of the 9.5, you can actually cut away all of this and weld this to the piping right here, and it should be okay. But I'm going to do another way. You can see it's threaded a bit down, but not all the way. And in the bottom is a really thick steel plate. So I'm going to cut this open right here. Just cut it through, not all the way through this plate in the bottom, but just make it loose and then punch it out. Then I will shorten this with how much I want, in this case 60 millimeters. And then I will put this on here again, make it really snug, and then weld it together. Then the weld will hold it together, and it will be press fitted to this bottom plate, so it will be a really strong connection. And yeah, I think this will work really good. If it would have been just pipe cut up and then weld together, it would probably hold, but there's a little bit bigger of a chance that the weld will crack, and that is not good for the suspension. So we will try to do this the best way possible. So okay, so here we have the parts. This one has been grinded down a little bit on the edges to make this threaded piece just fit nicely over it. So it's not 100%, so I have to give it a little tap so it really gets stuck. We have it. Now it needs to cool down a little bit, and we will put some paint on, then throw it back in. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, there's a little bit of height difference, so you just have to jack this up and then put in the screw, and the brake disc and everything will sit a little bit higher, but it's no problem. You can see how stiff the car is. I've already done it on the other side, and the tire is hanging up in the air, and I have just used one jack stand to get the car up. So this is an insanely stiff setup. So we're gonna put this in and lower the car and see the result. Okay, so this is with the car fully jacked up. Nothing is touching underneath or anything. The wheel sits freely. And you will see how much the spring compresses when I lower this down. That's it. I'm just gonna release the handbrake and it will give a little bit more, but pretty much this is it. So how do you like the lowering results? I think this came out super good. I have like 1.5 centimeters that I can lower in the front, but this is pure TrackSpec, so this is not like a fitment like exhibition car. This car is meant to be used, so I think this came out really good. Now we have some play, like a couple of centimeters, and even if it flexes down it will not hit the fender, which is the ideal. Could even spacer it out a little bit more, but as I said, it's pure for track days, so this is going to be epic. Really happy with the result. Just after some adjustments, it came out perfect. And the car is so stiff right now. It's going to be really fun to drive this car. But that will not be in this episode, we will take it in another one. So next episode will drop really soon after this one has been released. Because now I have some time off, so I want to test drive the coilovers with my tires that I got right now. I have some threads left, but it's not that much, but I have got some new ones. So we are running a semi-R slick tire and more on these in the next one. So next episode will be test driving with the new coilovers on to see how that feels. And also in the next episode we will change to these tires, because these have a much stiffer sidewall and they also have another compound, so these should be really sticky. So it should be so much fun next track day. So in about a week from now, a little bit more, it is the next track day that I hope, really hope that I can attend. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment down below if you have any questions. Subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. So a lot more coming on this car, and to summarize this coilover install, it was a bit of work, but definitely not impossible. But you gotta have the custom parts made by a friend or so. And thank you so much, Eric, for the help. Without the extra parts it would have been incredibly hard for the rear. And as you saw, you need to be able to cut a little bit, weld a little bit. It's not very much. So the front was really simple. Just a little bit of grinding and drill up one hole, and then you could use the stock top mount, and that was about it. Perfect. And for the rears it was a little bit more work, as you saw, but still manageable. But wait a little bit until you buy these coilovers, because this is pure testing. I don't know if it will work or how it will work. So depending on what I have seen and what I have felt right now, I would never put this on like a daily street car, because this is going to be stiff. And now I have the softest setting on the suspension. But due to the money you're paying for this coilover kit, and you get the adjustable dampeners and you get the correct height adjustment so you don't change the spring tension, is 10 out of 10. Couldn't be happier. So, and it looks really good. We have the fitment on point. So I'm really hyped about next video, and I hope you are too. See you then. Bye.